good story is about a girl named Anna. Anna lives in a village in a South American country. The village is like an indigenous tribe. But Anna isn't any ordinary girl in the village. Each and every person in the village gets assigned a certain or a specific task that they carry out. And that task becomes a part of their identity, who they are, the roles that they play in the community. And Anna, she was chosen to be the shaman of the village. But that was because she was gifted. She had a talent that no one else had. She could speak, sense, hear, feel, and even hear the dead. Sometimes she could even hear their thoughts. There are a lot of mysteries that she could predict. She never explained or could be able to explain or knew why she was the way she was. Some say it was destiny. Others said that God picked her out to carry out their healing work on earth. As it was normal in the indigenous traditions that healers were selected by the descendants of the gods, and sometimes even the gods had a say in who would be granted the magical gift of impacting their society. Anna accidentally stumbled upon her gift when she was a little girl. When she stumbled upon her gift, she was out playing in a park, and she didn't have a lot of friends. The other kids of the tribe didn't really like playing with her because they all thought that she was weird. She didn't take an interest in weaving or hunting or cooking or any of the other things that the other women in the village were interested in. Instead, Anna liked observing nature, watching the stars, and being alone. She knew how to make friends in a world that no one could see. Some of those things in that world weren't always scary. But for most part of the beginning of her childhood, she met friendly ones. But this particular day, when she was in the park playing alone, things were different. A cold breeze blew by, a very, very cold breeze. She grew chills up her spine and her heart beat up until her chest, telling every fiber of her body that something simply wasn't right. She heard laughter, but she knew she was alone because none of the kids came to this side of the jungle. This park was abandoned. It used to be the hunting grounds of her ancestors. And after the war with the other tribe, nobody accessed it anymore. But for Anna, it had become a familiar hiding spot. It was the place where she could be away from the rest of the villagers without having their judging eyes upon her. But today, this friendly, safe, warm place had become cold. And as the hair stood on the back of her neck, she turned around. And when she turned around, she saw him, a little boy. He was colorless. Like literally, he had no color in him. It was almost as if he was a drawing and he teased her. She became scared at first, not knowing if this boy was good or evil, but the energy she felt from him was overwhelming. It touched each fiber in her soul. But she knew she had to be brave. Fleeing and running away wasn't an option because her body was frozen from shock. This was the first time that she felt this way. The spirit communicated to her that it wasn't here to play. Maybe she had picked the wrong day to come on this side of the woods. She didn't say a word, and the boy walked closer. I know you can see me, she asked him. How do you know that? He looked back. I can sense it, just like you can sense me, how you can sense us. She asked him, what do you want from me? Why do you plague me? The boy laughed and laughed and laughed. She asked him again, what is it that you want from me? Why are you bothering me? Why are you showing your presence in front of me? He laughed again. If you could see my true essence, you would know my truth. What's that even supposed to mean? Look closer. He touched her forehead. Pat. Just like that. He hit the top of her forehead. And she saw visions of his life. So apparently, he was the leader of the army of the enemy tribe that her ancestors fought. And when the leader of her tribe back then cut off his head, his soul stayed on that very ground, looking for vengeance. And ever since then, he's been a jungle spirit, luring people that came by into his traps. Sometimes he'd make them disappear in the forest. And the people would look days and days for their children, and no bodies were found. He and he alone knew what evil magic he did to those kids, their bodies. They all became prisoners of his forest, working under his command. And I was shocked to see these visions. The spirit was truly an evil being. She had been here countless times before, but she's never encountered it before. Why do you choose to show yourself now? I've been on these paths before. I've played alongside this creek on a daily basis, and I've never seen you. Why today? Why now do you show yourself? And then he laughs again and again. He says, today is different indeed. Today my power has grown. One of your people has made a mistake. And now I'm here to pass on the message that your village will be cursed. Cursed? Why? You can't do that. Why do you want to do that? To avenge and to seek the blood of my people that your ancestors spilled. In the next 7 days, tragedy will strike your village, and nothing can break my curse. And I wanted to reason with the evil spirit. But a strong wind blew in, and all the leaves from the floor lifted around her. It was as if there were dancing fairies. Smoke appeared, and a cold chill began to subside. Before she knew it, the ghost had disappeared. Interesting indeed. I'm telling you guys, Midnight Creeps right here on Storytime. So don't forget to support me by subscribing to my blog. Anyway, Anna is in a shock and she hurries back to the village. She runs, and she goes looking for the chief. When she finally gets an audience with the chief, she tells him what happened. The chief is shocked. Clearly, some evil spirit has had put the evil eye on his village and on his people. At first, he doubted if he should have taken Anna serious, but just to make sure, he made the villagers call a favor upon the local shaman. He had to appear in front of the village chief in a village meeting. And that's when they asked the shaman if this was true. The shaman grabbed his bones and his sticks, and he wiggled and he shaked it and he threw it on the ground. He froze. He held the bowl in his hand and he began shaking and swirling and dancing. Then he held his hand still and the bowl was in it. And the ball began moving left and right without him moving his hand. And when the ball began moving left and right, it suddenly bursted. Like, it literally broke in a couple of pieces of a wooden kind of bowl. Anyway, the wooden bowl had some kind of holy drink in it. And that wooden bowl being bursted wasn't a good sign at all. for the villagers. Shaman was shocked. It appears the girl speaks the truth. She has the gift of communicating with the other world. The villagers were shocked, some moved, some were scared. The woman began panicking, fearing that the worst was upon them with this curse. The village chief asked the shaman if there was anything that could be done about this. Hmm, there is one thing, but I'm afraid to harvest that kind of power isn't an ordinary job. You would need a powerful wizard to activate the stone. If you find a powerful wizard, we can activate the stone of protection that protects our villages. It'll protect our village, keep the negative energy and the evil force and the spell of the evil ghost or spirit of the forest away from the village. And then the chief is like, great, where do we find a powerful wizard? The shaman lit up his pipe and he began scratching his head. Now that's not an easy task. Here comes the difficult part. The last wizard known that was powerful enough to activate a protection stone disappeared 100 years ago. Nobody knows where he is right now. The chief was at his wits' ends. He was almost considering asking advice from a shaman from a different tribe that they befriended. Maybe they would have the solution. They were more modern and innovative in their magical ways and mystic ways, of course. But the shaman, he scratched his beard, he's a short guy, and he was a bit bended up like this. And he scratched his beard and he said, but if you go into the forest and you bring back something that contains the essence or the energy of this spirit, this evil spirit that's bothering us, I can create a spell that will help us track the person who can free us from the curse of this evil spirit. So I bet you guys are curious to know what's going to happen next, right? So here's what happens next. Now they're all scared because who wants to go in a haunted forest with a ghost to collect something with the evil spirit energy? No one was crazy enough to do it, especially from a spirit that's so vengeful. The chief kept asking for volunteers. He even asked the bravest of the bravest warriors. And they all said, listen, you can send us to fight dragons, enemy tribes, and we'll be fearless. We'll go out and risk our life and do what needs to be done to protect the village. But how can you send man made from blood and flesh to face something we can't even see? It would be daunting us. It's something from the invisible world. Now, Anna knew what situation she was in, but she was also very familiar with the grounds. She was the only one in the village who frequently visited the place, and she had the gift of seeing the dead. So she said to the chief, I'll volunteer to do it. I'll go, and I'll get you something with a personal possession. I've communicated with the spirit before. If he shows himself again, I'll talk to him and I'll trick him into finding out where his personal belongings or possessions are buried in this forest. And when I return, the shaman can conjure up the spell and we'll find our supposed hero that will free us from the curse of this evil spirit. At first, the village chief thought it was ridiculous. All of our hope in little Anna? His people were doomed. Maybe it was best if they just left the village and moved into a different tribe. Maybe create a peace treaty. He was thinking of all the things that he could gather, all the priceless possessions to make a deal with the other tribes to shelter them. And his brave tribe would now become refugees. But somewhere his pride was struck at that thought because the chief was also a chief with ego. So he decided to give it a chance. And if Anna was not successful within 3 days, he would go to plan B, and that was evacuating the village before the curse of the spirit struck them. And he said, fine, Anna, I'll give you 3 days to bring us back what we need. And when you do, when you'll be successful, we'll honor you. But for now, success on your journey. So he sent Anna off. Anna packed some food. She didn't know what she needed to fight the evil spirit. So bringing a bow, arrow, or the sword wasn't going to be of much use for her. But instead, what she bought was some garlic because she heard that some spirits were scared of garlic. Then she brought along with her some lemons because someone told her that negative energy cannot stand lemons. As if that was true or not, she didn't know, but she was about to find out. And there, Anna went on her quest to face the first evil spirit that she had to face in her life. She went back to the grounds, and when she arrived there in the early morning, it was quiet. It was as if there was no entity or presence there. There was only white light. She stared at the animals frolicking around her. She looked at the skies. She listened to the trees. And she hunted for the fish. But soon, nightfall came, quicker than she thought it would arrive. And if you want to know what happens next, you'll have to wait to see next week version of Midnight Clips, guys. I hope you like this freestyle improved version of the story right now. I look forward to doing more of these Midnight Clips episodes because it helps me practice my creativity as a writer and as a blogger. Thank you guys for all the support. Mwah. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe to my storytime episode. Bye bye.